What's up guys, Joe Drake here with the Axiom Fitness Academy. I had to recruit my beautiful wife, Miss Megan Drake, here today as well, to talk to you guys about stability and mobility in the body. So this idea and concept of this alternating pattern that our body is supposed to have of stability and mobility as we move up this kinetic chain was really kind of a light bulb that went off for me. I think first explained by Dr. Scott Hoare, and just understanding not only previous injuries and how they impact the way that we move, but also thinking about performance and making sure that those forces are translated up through the body appropriately. So let's take a look at it first. All the forces in the world, whether we're running, jogging, jumping, it's all going to come from this ground reaction force. So knowing that, taking a look at the ground first, and really as we're looking at the body, the ground up is going to give us not only a good path to understand how movement happens and how it should happen, but to take a look at where we might have some restrictions and where we might have a little bit of a lack of stability. So if we look at it, alternating pattern of stability and mobility. First part of our body that's in contact with the ground is that foot, right? This is like our connection to the world. This is where we're getting proprioceptive information. We want this area of the body to be stable. Now what we'll find is we have areas of the body that are supposed to be stable or mobile, and they're not. That's when we have potential issues. Either A, maybe that's the reason that we've had a long-term injury somewhere along the way, or we've got a potential lack of performance because of that mobility or stability issue. So foot's supposed to be stable. If you move up, next area of the body we look at is that ankle. A big common issue for a lot of people where I see squatting, lunging, everything else. A lot of issues start from the ankle. But ankle's supposed to be nice and mobile. For a lot of people, if it's not, it causes problems up the chain. Next area of the body, being the knee. Pretty common area of injury for a lot of people, whether it's in youth athletics or otherwise. But what we'll find is oftentimes it's not caused by something at the knee, it's a lack of mobility at the ankle or the hip that might be causing that as well, right? So knee's supposed to be nice and stable. Doesn't mean it doesn't move, but we want stability in the knee. As we move up the chain, move into your hip, lumbo-pelvic hip complex, we want that hip to be nice and mobile, right? It's a ball and socket joint, so it really should have the most ability to have range of motion. Next area of the body that we'll move up to as we, again, forces travel up our kinetic chain would be that low back area, right? Our lumbar spine. An area where if you really watch a lot of people in the gym environment and work out, we have probably a little too much movement going on in that low back. It's supposed to be an area of stability, but for many people it's not. Next area, just moving right up that back, is going to be your thoracic spine, your mid-back. We should have good range of motion, good mobility. We actually have the most thoracic spine out of all the other areas. So if it makes sense, we should have more movement. But for a lot of people, we sit at desks all day, we're on computers, our general position in life ends up having a lack of mobility in that thoracic spine. Next area up from there is going to be our scapula or our shoulder blade. So you can see Megan, she can elevate, she can depress, she can retract, she can protract. Doesn't mean that the shoulder blade doesn't have the capacity for a lot of movement, but when we're doing exercises, let's say we're doing pull-ups, we're doing rows, we're doing pressing exercises, we generally don't want movement in that area. And if we do, we may be missing out on some of the force that our other muscles are creating. And then if you guys look at the shoulder is pretty much just like the hip. And really our arms are kind of just like our legs, we just don't walk on them. We should have range of motion. This should be a nice mobile area of the body. But again, you'll find an issue and a source of injury for a lot of people. So if that's not mobile, we're gonna have problems. And then really the elbow is just like the knee. We want stability in the elbow, and then we want mobility in the wrists, and then really hands are like the feet. We want stability back in that area. What we'll find is that our clients that don't have the right amount of mobility and stability in these different areas of the body, that might show up in some of their exercises. Either A, they're gonna move a certain way, maybe they're not gonna be able to get into the depth that you're looking for in a squat because of that ankle range of motion. So one, it's gonna allow us to really understand what exercises are probably gonna be a better choice for them. And then two, emphasizing the importance that we try to make some improvements in those areas so that we can help them get better progress long term.